What's up, guys, and welcome to today's episode of How to Produce. This is where we actually break down very popular soca tracks and I show you exactly how to rebuild those tracks for your own production purposes. Alright, today we're going to take on the song Backyard Jam by Farma Nappy. Really nice song. It's a different groove to your traditional soca groove. It's more on the calypso extempo side, but I'm going to show you how he created those patterns. And guess what? I'm going to give you some of the samples for that absolutely free. All I need you to do is just follow the description down in the bottom. I will show you exactly how to get it for free, and visit www.freesquaredmusic.com. Don't forget to check out my new Monarch sample pack where I teach you and I help you actually with your creative process. You could use that to start off your own soca tracks. Alright, let's get into it. Peace out. Okay, so before we break down the song itself, let's listen to what the final product sounds like, and I'm going to toggle between my instrumental as well as the original.
It's a happy place in my life, every living day. Happy place. I'm at a happy place. If I share, every way I go. If I share, I'm at a happy place.
Okay, so that's pretty much it. Everything else is more a repeat throughout the entire song. So of course, before we do everything, the first thing we're going to break down is the drums, because you need to know exactly what's going on, because this is not the traditional soca pattern. It's more of a extempo or calypso kind of pattern to my knowledge, right? If you know about extempo is an extension of calypso, probably a slower version of calypso, but they sped this up to a more calypso tradition. That's why the pattern and the kick especially is totally different. Where traditional soca you have that steady kick. Let's listen to the kick pattern for this particular song, and you'll have an idea of what I mean when everything comes together. See the kick pattern? And the snare as well. So let's listen to the kick and the snare. Everybody knows this traditional calypso kind of extempo kind of vibe going on. So what's happening with the kick? So the kick is like, if you start counting, it's just like threes. 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3. That's all the kick is doing, and the snare is basically almost the exact same thing. Let's listen to the snare. Let's zoom in so you could see the patterns for the snare. Pretty simple snare pattern. So how did I get the snare to sound like the extempo, the original? Sorry, I laid the snare. To be honest, this was the most challenging aspect of rebuilding this song. It's the drums, because in the original the drums are actually live drums, and it's very difficult to recreate live drums. So I had to literally break down everything piece by piece and put it together. And let's listen to the hi-hat pattern. It's a simple hi-hat pattern. I actually drew the hi-hat pattern in manually, so you guys could do it too. And if you notice, for me to get that realistic vibe, that humanistic feel, I have different velocities for certain notes, because a human playing the drum could never actually sound consistent in terms of his velocities. There's certain swing notes that you want, even if the patterns are, for example, playing 16th notes or 8th notes or even quarter notes. For it to give the illusion of a swing, you have to change the velocities. Alright, so that's what I did with the drums. So let's listen to the drums from the start. Let's listen to everything from the start. Hold on a second. The drums from the start. Simple, from the snare roll, everything. I had to do it in manually. So let's listen to another very important element of this track, which is the percussions. Now I may not necessarily have the percussions 100% down, but I guarantee this is very close to what the original sounds like. Okay, so the first thing that I noticed when I was listening to the track itself is this. Right, that is it's very subtle underneath the rhythm itself, but I managed to actually put it in as close as I can get. So I labeled this one as percussion 1. The second one I heard for sure is I added this one as a layer just to actually full up the music. This is not actually in the track. So this one is not actually in the track. I actually did it just to give the track some sort of body, because I thought it was a bit empty from what I was hearing. So I just added my own vibe to it. All right, this one as well. So I took this pattern from Carnival Rosé, because again I wasn't able to hear every single thing the percussion was doing. So I just improvised and used some of my Carnival Rosé packs. And my new Monarch sample pack to fill in the gaps. This for sure is in the pattern. This for sure is in the pattern. It's like a consistent woodblock sound. And I layered it. So this for sure. The cowbell is pretty dominant. If you listen to the cowbell, you could actually hear it all over the song. Now, what I did again, and that's a trick that I do because I'm a musician and of course I do a lot of gigging. I took a piece of the sample for the track itself and I layered it. See? And I just glued it together. So this, to create this pattern, I just took different pieces of the song itself, glued it together and make my own pattern. All of this is just to add body. And of course there's the triangle. So if you listen, everything meshes properly, and of course there's this bell which is very dominant in the rhythm itself. So let's listen to just the rhythm section. This is what the rhythm section sounds like, and in my opinion it sounds very close to the original, because let's listen to the original. Yeah, so the next thing I did was with the music. So I noticed there was, for me, I could hear like two basses. I know it's an original bass, but since I'm not a bass player, for me to get the body as well as the bass to cut through, like for it to sound original, I layered the bass. Let's listen to it by itself. The song, by the way, is in D major. The chords are G major, D major, A major, back to D major, G major, D major, A major, and then B minor. So these are the chords that actually make up the song. So let's listen to the bass pattern again. Very simple bass pattern. Alright, it repeats itself, but in the verse it just does a simple pattern, which is this. Simple, and then it goes back to the chord. It goes back to the same chords. I noticed there were horns as well. So what I did, I have two sets of horns. These are the horns. I have a higher octave and a lower octave to give it some body. And then I just put a synth pad underneath it, very low, very subtle, just to give it that vibe, just to anchor everything together. So what I did with the guitar, right? I could tell there's guitars in the track. I know there's a strum in the track for sure. I couldn't distinctly hear the strum. So what I did, I tried to improvise on the guitar pattern, and you guys could do that too. All right. Since we already know the piano strum, and let's listen to the piano strum first before we even go to the guitar. We know this is the piano strum. Very traditional calypso or soca pattern. And by the way, I'm going to tackle up about 6 different strums that you could use for your piano tracks, for your soca tracks, sorry. You could also strum with those pianos, you could also strum with those synths. So what I did with the guitars, when I figured this was the strum pattern for the piano, I decided to just try to use a simple electric guitar just to complement it. So let's listen to what I came up with. So if you notice, wherever the piano stops, the guitar actually fills in the gap. More than likely, that is what the original track is going to be doing. Even if I can't hear the notes exactly, but that is what the guitar is actually going to do. And then what I did, I actually put in another layer of guitar, and I call it the guitar strum, just to anchor everything down. Let's listen to it. Let's listen to everything together now. So let's go from the start and listen to what Backyard Jam instrumental sounds like up till the second verse. Once again, guys, this has been a Free Squared Music production breakdown tutorial. Don't forget to check out my website, freesquaredmusic.com. Check out my new soca sample pack. It's amazing. It's called The Monarch Volume 1. In there you can get a whole bunch of tracks. If you need some inspiration to start off your soca track, I got you on this one. Alright, high quality samples, high quality one shots. That's all you need for your samples, okay? All you need for your soca tracks. See you guys later. Peace out.